Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. In a new video, Ukraine's president says his country will defeat Russia.
Бачимо наші бойові перемоги і втрати ворога.
Volodymyr Zelensky said it's not possible to say how many more days it will take, but his country will defeat the invaders. It comes as Russia widens attacks with more cities being targeted. The cities of Lutsk and Ivano-Frankivsk have been targeted, with Dnipro struck for the first time since the invasion began. Meanwhile, Russia has released video said to show its airborne troops on the move in the Kiev region. Satellite images taken by a US firm of a large Russian military convoy near Ukraine's capital show it has largely dispersed and redeployed. The convoy was last seen near Antonov Airport, northwest of Kiev, and its movement could signal a renewed push towards the city. The firm that took the photos said parts of the convoy were in positions in surrounding towns. The Ukrainian military, however, continue to fight back, here shooting at Russian forces in a village near Kiev. Video shows troops advancing towards an unidentified location and coordinating the operation while under heavy gunfire. The European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has presented plans to phase out EU dependence on Russian fossil fuels by 2027. At a summit in Versailles, a declaration is expected which will likely include conclusions on energy, defence and the economy. It's an earlier and more specific date than the one proposed by the Commission on Tuesday, when they talked about making Europe independent of Russian fossil fuels well before 2030. Meanwhile, the EU is set to fund further military support for Ukraine. That's according to its Foreign Affairs chief. Josep Borrell was speaking to reporters as he arrived for the resumption of the EU Leaders' Summit in Versailles.
500 million more on military warfare for the Ukrainian forces, and to continue thinking on more sanctions to the oligarchs and to the Russian economy. To support Ukraine military with 500 million more, and to continue putting pressure on Russia.
President Zelensky has roundly rejected claims by Russia that Ukraine is developing chemical weapons.
обвиняют нас, снова нас.
In a late-night address, he said he worried the allegations meant that Russia might be prepared to deploy chemical weapons in Ukraine. Russia has made repeated accusations that the United States is working with Ukrainian laboratories to develop biological weapons, something both sides have denied. Despite this, Russia's president says there have been positive developments in ongoing negotiations between Russian and Ukrainian officials. Vladimir Putin told Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko, a key Russian ally, there had been certain positive shifts at a meeting in Moscow. There have been 3 rounds of negotiations between the two sides' negotiating teams on the Ukraine-Belarus border, and on Thursday the Ukrainian and Russian foreign ministers met for talks in Turkey. The US Vice President Kamala Harris has arrived in Romania to discuss the growing refugee crisis in the region. Harris will meet Romanian President Klaus Iohannis in Bucharest, her second stop on a 3-day trip through Eastern Europe. Around 2.5 million people have fled Ukraine, according to the United Nations, which has warned that up to 5 million people could flee. That would make it the biggest humanitarian crisis in Europe since World War II. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.